off-duty federal agent, law enforcement officer admits threatening three tribal employees with assault rifle. Now, before we get started, though, this actually happened in a Indian reservation, and depending on uh, the actual sovereignty of the actual tribe, uh, law enforcement on the actual land can vary. They can actually be federal officers. They can actually be tribal police, security enforcement, or any type of actual law enforcement. They're actually armed. Um, for the majority of these actual uh, tribal police, they will not have the red and blue lights. They will have yellow as hazards. They are armed. They can actually bring you up on charges, but as for law enforcement powers, they're minimum. They can't pull you over and give you a speeding ticket, anything like that. No, but they're there merely just for protection and to be the first responders to an actual scene. So, having lived and living in an actual reservation, uh, the houses can be pretty much spread apart, and there tends to be a drug problem in the majority of these reservations. And it's not really the actual tribal members, it's the company that they actually attract. You know, people off the reservations are the ones that are causing the problems and actually stealing actual personal stuff. Like, for example, uh, the actual our water source. It's an actual river that runs in the bottom of our of the land. So we actually siphon the actual uh, water from this actual river, but you need to actually connect a generator for about 6 hours to actually fill up. And then it's down below, so it's about a quarter of a mile to the actual reservoir, the $10,000 actual gallon on top, and it takes about 6 hours. So somebody can plan out a 6 hour actual uh, takedown of a anywhere from $5,000 to $8,000 generator, and they're pretty light because they're portable. I mean, two people can actually carry these actual generators, and so in order for you to actually be comfortable and secure, you got to have a rifle available. You know what I mean? You can have a handgun, but a handgun is not really going to do you any good if you're going to be doing something from long range, from a long distance. You actually do need a rifle. And that's exactly true for wildlife too. You don't know because mountain lions can get pretty big up there. And mountain lions can actually get pretty aggressive if you have like different types of actual livestock. And when you got a couple of pot-bellied pigs running around, they you attract a lot of actual predators. And for this actual individual, he was in the wrong. But then again, these actual three employees were also in the wrong for going through somebody's property without actually speaking to somebody. According to them, they had permission from the wife, and the wife said that she had told the employees of the tribe to actually get in touch of her husband before actually setting foot on the actual property. And they were there to actually test a river, a creek behind their house, right? So these three individuals, I don't know why they didn't knock. I don't know why they didn't have the courtesy to actually let this Customs Border Protection agent uh, let them know, hey, can we test? Can we drive through your property, go get a couple of tests? And apparently they've done it before, but this we're talking about now, and we talk about this actual situation. So he doesn't know exactly who's back there in the truck, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So these actual three employees are in the creek actually conducting these tests for the water source that's going through there, and they hear a rifle shot that rang out, right? So now, so now the actual victims look back towards the actual the shotgun shell. That's actually the shot that rang out, right? So, uh, apparently, according to the victims, this actual Customs Border Patrol, Customs Border Protection agent approached, pointing an assault rifle at them and yelling, demanding to know what they were actually doing and who had given them permission to be there. When the victims tried to explain that his wife had given them permission to collect the samples, he disputed that fact. Even after they told him they would go, while still leaving the rifle at the leveling the rifle at the victim. He still had it on him. You know what I mean? I hope they were in uniform. They were in some kind of actual truck. So hopefully it was a travel truck. And he had actually ordered them closer to him and demanded that they drop their equipment, testing equipment, right? Finally, the agent allowed the victims to leave. He told them that now they knew he shoots first, at questions later. You don't do that. You don't say that. Even though you think, if he did it, you don't say that to your actual victims. And according to the documents, all three victims believe that they actually were going to get shot. The actual government further alleged that the actual agent disputed with the victims that they had permission to be on the on his property, but admitted to discharging the actual rifle, holding them at gunpoint, and ordered them to leave the actual property. Now the wife remembered that the victims had sought permission but told law enforcement she had told them that they needed to speak to the actual agent. And somehow, upon seeing the truck on the actual morning of the incident, the wife told him that's probably the water people. Okay? That's probably the water people. So you just gotta balance out the actual his train of thought, you know what I mean? What he's actually thinking and the way he went about this. You can't allow this individual to actually be any type of law enforcement. You have to have more discipline than that. You know, I mean, just because something's going on your actual property, there's still actually needing access to this creek, and you gotta, stuff has to make sense to you before you react this way. Even though we all want to react this way, we all want to be holding our ground and our actual property, defending your actual personal property, your actual your family and everything. You have to think, you have to be quick on your feet, and you have to actually realize, hey, okay, when they come back down, or I actually take the drive down there and say, hey man, I appreciate if you guys let me know if you guys are gonna be here, you know and that goes for anybody, including these actual uh, um the I guess the travel police, right, too, but these were nothing to do with that. But I mean, we've told travel police that if they want to set foot on the property, they need to contact us before even driving up there. Before setting one foot, they have to actually contact us before going up there. Doesn't matter who you are. And if you got the sheriffs, with even more emphasis on calling before you come up. This is the way it is. And for this actual individual to plead out for a simple assault, that can be punishable by 6 months. But he negotiated, he worked something out, and I think he's going to get 5 months instead of 5 years of probation, and loses credentials. And if it's going to be simple assault, so it'll probably be He probably won't do any time, but he will lose his. He will. I don't. No, no. I can't. Let's not say he. There's a chance that he can. Okay, so depending on his actual agency and depending on his actual station or his actual work duty, his studio station, right? So it was common for if agents got in trouble with domestic violence and they actually, or an assault like this, they actually got their service weapon confiscated. They no longer actually carry a service weapon. Like in San Diego sector, there's plenty of actual jobs for you. You can be part of an actual construction crew. You can be part of the actual vehicle shop, maintenance, IT, that do not require you to carry actual service weapon. And that's totally understandable and it's totally, I mean, that's just the way it is, the way laws are. And so you can get a job um, regardless if you can carry a weapon or not, basically, you know. And when you're constantly having to service your fleet vehicles or having to actually restock your fleet vehicles because they put a lot of hard miles on these vehicles, so you're constantly, you know, putting in new units into your actual fleet, depending on his actual workstation, and see if they and it depends on if they want to offer this. It depends on your supervisor too, so that has a lot to do with it too. So I'll see and I'll keep an eye on what the actual verdict is. Okay, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe. Let me add on too. By the way, okay, such event as this, if the agent is an actual member of the tribe or not, uh, these three individuals can go to tribal and put in a complaint and actually request for this individual to be basically kicked off the actual reservation. And they can actually do a lifetime ban. They can actually have you excommunicated and kicked out of the reservation. And if it's determined that somebody harbors you back in there, the fines can be hefty, or you will be joining the actual individual somewhere because you will get kicked out of there too. So they can actually present this into the actual council, and then the entire tribe will have an actual meeting to take action on this actual individual. And depending on actually how they balance things out, and you can actually get excommunicated with no say, with no actual warning, and just serve papers on you, and they will evict you. And it's not like 30 days either. You got minutes to get out of there. It's like that. And if you want to try to come back, you have to actually get voted to actually lift the actual ban on you, and you have to actually go. Yeah, it's a lot of process, a lot of steps you actually have to conduct to even get considered to be brought back in. So if you're not an actual member and you actually live on the actual reservation, you have to be very, very careful and basically just keep out of anybody's way, to tell you the truth. Keep out of anybody's way. Okay, guys, don't forget